Chapter 3, Rise of a Swordsman. Forest in Fire Country. Naruto was walking through the forest still in the land of fire. It had been 1 month since he had left Konoha and he already viewed it as an improvement. As he moved through the woods, he heard the sound of metal clashing. Sneaking towards the sound, he peeked from behind a tree and watched as a group of bandits were attacking a blue-haired woman all at once. As they attacked, she struck them down with her sword, which was a long, thin, silver blade with a golden handguard. Moving quickly from opponent to opponent, she ended it by spinning quickly with her sword, slicing anyone who came near her. Naruto watched in awe at her skill. After the last bandit had fallen, she looked around and then fell to a knee, panting. As she regained her breath, she looked up and towards the tree that Naruto was hiding behind. She sighed as Naruto quickly stopped peeking and hid behind the tree. With his eyes closed, he kept quietly chanting, "Please have not seen me. Please have not seen me. You know, if you want to hide better, it might be best not to talk out loud," the blue-haired sword wielder suggested, interrupting his chant. Opening his eyes, Naruto got a better look at the woman. She was about 6 feet tall, slim, and had long blue hair that reached past her shoulders but was tied in a single braid. A gray skin-tight jumpsuit covered her. She looked to be about 20. Her sword sat in its sheath on her hip. Finally, he looked into her eyes. He was shocked that he saw warmth and kindness being directed towards him, as it was a new experience. He was silent as she smiled at him. "So kid, what are you doing out here?" she asked softly. Nothing really. I was just walking, that's all," Naruto replied quickly, which made the woman roll her eyes. "You know kid, you are a very bad liar, but I guess I'll let it slide for now. So tell me kid, what's your name?" she asked. Naruto pouted a little at being called a liar but responded to her question, sensing no malice from her. "My name is Naruto." The brunette giggled at his pout. "Well Naruto, I'm Sarah, nice to meet you," she said, holding out her hand. Naruto took it, shaking the whole time. Sarah noticed this and decided to clarify everything. "Look Naruto, what you just saw? You don't have to worry about me doing that to you." That, she said, pointing to the many bodies that lay behind her, was self-defense. Naruto nodded quickly. Though he was shaken up from seeing his first massacre, he still was in awe at her skill. As she started walking away, an idea came to mind. "Teach me," Naruto yelled out, which made Sarah stop in her tracks. Looking at the ground, she was silent for a whole minute before turning around to answer him. "Why?" she asked, looking into his eyes to determine if his answer would be truthful or a lie to appease her. Naruto looked at her and replied with a fire in his eyes. "I want to be acknowledged, respected, and appreciated. I want to show everyone that I am worth looking at," he answered, no longer just answering her but himself as well. Sarah crossed her arms in thought and picked up on what he said in his speech. "What about your parents, family, friends, home?" she asked, interested in his answer. Naruto clenched his fist, but his gaze never wavered. "I have no one that I can call a friend, and my village and family refuse to even act like I exist. The way I see it, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain," he said with a smirk. Sarah looked at him for a long moment before laughing loudly. "Kid, I will admit that you've got guts to see someone kill a bunch of guys and then ask to join them," she responded with a smile. "All right kid, come on." Naruto smiled, his first genuine smile in a long time, and rushed over to the woman. "Time skip 1 year, forest in fire country. You're putting too much force into it and it's making you too slow," chastised Sarah as she fought blade to blade with her apprentice Naruto. "Yeah, I know. I guess I'm just excited for tonight," he said with a smile before blocking a slash from his blue-haired teacher and jumping away from her. Sarah rolled her eyes at his remark. "I know, but for now you need to focus because I could have been done killing you by now. You're better than this, so show me," she yelled, hoping it got through to her student, who had quickly become like a brother to her. "Fine then," he yelled back before gathering his katana in a reverse grip, smirking. Sarah pulled her sword near her face with a smirk, as well as the two prepared for a swordsman's end. Faster than one could see, the two appeared on the opposite side of each other, not facing each other. Both held their stances until Naruto fell to his knees with a slash across his bare chest. Sarah smiled before she unexpectedly fell with a weaker slash across her stomach that tore through her jumpsuit. Damn it, not again," Sarah shouted before going over to check her shirtless apprentice, who was catching his breath. Walking behind his kneeling form, she put her sword to his neck and whispered, "I win." "Time skip midnight. Well, looks like it's about time," Sarah announced to Naruto, who was practically jumping up and down in excitement. Over the past year the boy had grown. Now the 11-year-old stood at 5 feet tall and was as muscular as an 11-year-old could be. He had learned a lot from Sarah, who was just one in a line of legendary swordsmen. She was the 10th swordsman, and her title was the Aqua Knight, as her sword and herself grew more powerful in the water. When it came to sword skills, no one was near as good as one who received their title the way Sarah did. This line of swordsmen were always the best, and soon Naruto would join as the 11th swordsman. Throughout the training, Naruto learned every special technique of each of the previous swordsmen in their unnamed group from Sarah, as she had learned from the 9th swordsman. It took him very little time to learn all she knew, which reinforced Sarah's multiple conclusions that the boy was special. She taught him chakra control, sensing, and usage, but did not teach him jutsu. Sarah sighed and looked at Naruto, who was staring at the sky. Tonight he would receive his individual sword, which would make him almost unbeatable in swordsmanship. When the clouds moved and the moon shined bright, Naruto felt something in him telling him to reach out. When he did, he watched as a flash blinded Naruto from seeing his outstretched hand. When the light died down, Naruto was holding his sword. His real sword. The blade itself was huge. It was about 5 feet in length and half as thick as Naruto's body. The blade was curved in a way that heavily resembled a crescent moon. The color of the blade was black, with the sharp side of the blade a shining silver. The handle was pure gold with a crescent moon in the center. As Naruto admired it, Sarah decided to speak up. "So you've attained your title. Naruto, you now hold the title the Lunar Soldier, as it has been made evident by your blade," Sarah said seriously as Naruto paid close attention to her. "Now you are probably wondering how you are holding something like that so easily," she said, smiling when he nodded yes. "That is your sword and will be answered to you and you only. It has perfect balance and you will be able to lift it in any way because it answers to you. Now, unlike my sword, your sword is a defensive sword, as you can see by the shape and size," she explained. "I understand, Master," Naruto said as he kneeled, which shocked Sarah since she had never been called Master, just Teacher Ursus. Smiling, she told him to get up and follow her. As Naruto rose with his sword still in hand, he remembered what Sarah had told him about this moment and about summoning his sword. Smiling, he flicked his sword up into the sky and it vanished, waiting to appear when it was called upon again. He followed Sarah to a nearby lake. Sarah looked at him with proud eyes. "I knew you were special from the day I met you, Naruto. In this past year I've watched you grow and have taught you everything I know. Now there is one thing left for me to give you," she said, smiling, and cut the right sleeve off of her jumpsuit, revealing a tattoo of a dragon wrapped around her arm. Naruto watched as Sarah bit her left thumb and rubbed the blood on the tattoo, which glowed and mist covered the ground and water. As the water began thrashing and the ground began shaking, Naruto watched as a giant dragon-like serpent rose from the water. The creature was bluish-gray with an ocean blue head and piercing yellow eyes. Sarah smiled as she looked upon her summon. The serpent lord of the ocean, Leviathan. He was 3 times the size of Jiraiya the Sennin summoned Gamabunta and could defeat even the mightiest Bijou. Of course the serpent had not revealed its full size, which would be too much for a lake to handle. The serpent moved its head down to meet the two. "Sarah, it has been a long time," Leviathan commented as softly as a giant water serpent could. "Hello, old friend. I am sorry for my absence, but it's time," she responded with a small smile while Leviathan slowly nodded. Naruto, who was watching in awe of the greatness that was before him, he was brought out of his wonder by Sarah. "Naruto, I would like for you to sign the water serpent contract, but only if you want to." Sarah smiled as she could tell he wanted to jump up in joy but stayed respectful in the presence of the great beast that watched the events that were to unfold. Nodding quickly, she instructed him to apply his blood to her tattoo in order to become a summoner. When he did, the tattoo glowed then disappeared off of her arm. Before Naruto could ask where it went, he felt a searing pain on his right bicep as the tattoo that was formerly on Sarah has transferred itself to Naruto's arm. Looking down, he regained his composure at seeing the tattoo on his arm. "Does this mean that I am a summoner?" he asked expectantly. Sarah nodded. Leviathan then saw the need to explain the contract himself, so he turned his gaze solely on Naruto, who immediately focused on what the Serpent Lord had to say. "The water serpent contract is one that cannot be held on a simple scroll, so we form our contract on the summoner's body. We are one of the most powerful creatures in existence, so you must summon us accordingly. We do not fight small skirmishes. Our abilities are not limited by water, we can also be summoned on land as well. You may summon us using the standard hand signs for a summon, but it will cost you more chakra than most summons. We will only allow one summoner at a time, and the only way it can be passed on is willingly by the current summoner. Now, child, make the hand signs and summon your personal serpent. Naruto nodded and did as asked. Instead of smoke appearing, which was normal for summons, mist swarmed into a mini tornado, causing Naruto to look away. When he looked back, he was staring at a serpent about half the size of Leviathan but looked almost identical to him. Greetings, I am Levius, son of Leviathan, and your personal summon, he said with a grin, revealing a mouth full of teeth that could cut through steel like a knife through butter. Naruto liked him immediately. Hello Levius, my name is Naruto and I am honored to be able to summon you, he said both respectfully and excitedly, to the shocking amusement of the two serpents, who then left in a bed of mist but not before looking up at the clouded sky. Right when Naruto was about to ask where they went, his senses went on alert and he jumped just in time as Sarah missed with her sword. Sarah, what are you doing? A confused Naruto yelled out. Sarah stood tall. Naruto, tonight you became the 11th swordsman, the lunar soldier, and the water serpent summoner. In order to complete this, you must kill me in this battle right here, right now, she responded as rain started to fall. Naruto stood there with tears in his eyes as the rain started falling. No. You're all I have. Without you, I'm all alone. I won't kill you. I refuse, he shouted, letting his tears run. Sarah hated to do this to Naruto. He was so innocent, yet she was going to thrust him into a cruel and unforgiving world with no one. But she would be damned if she didn't give her most precious person the strength to make it in this world. Naruto, you must fight me with everything you have in order to attain your full potential. Once you do, then I will know that you will be safe. I know you don't want to do this and I'm sorry for thrusting you into this, but it must be done, she said, crying. Now fight me with everything you have or I'll never forgive you, she yelled and ran towards him. Listening to her reasoning strengthened his resolve and he called his sword. When the blade appeared in his hand, he ran towards Sarah and the two clashed blades. Fighting with everything they had, the two slashed at each other as the rain fell harder. While Sarah was faster, Naruto had reach and power. As the two fought, Naruto drove Sarah away from the water, which would have given her a huge advantage, and further into the forest. Eventually the two came to a standstill, holding their blades against each other, but Sarah twisted her body to land a strike at his leg, forcing him down. Well, I guess you won't be able to beat me. Shame. Guess I'll have to look for someone else, she said, frowning disappointingly, but the frown was replaced with a small smile at her student's next words. Look up, teacher, he responded. When Sarah looked up, she saw the full moon and knew it was over. The next thing she felt was a mix of pain and pride as she looked down to see Naruto's blade driven into her chest. As she fell, Naruto caught her and laid her down. Naruto watched as the life left his teacher's eyes. Sarah died with a smile, but it was little consolation. Naruto didn't fight the tears that came and repeatedly cursed himself and Sarah that night. When morning arrived, Naruto left the battle scene with a heavy heart. Sarah was given an ocean burial by Naruto and the water serpent Leviathan. Now it was time for Naruto to return to Konoha.